We're combining all the best old school wisdom with all the top new school methods to bring you the optimal way to coach and play the great game of baseball. This is the 80-20 Baseball Masterclass with Coach Bo.
Welcome, coaches. Coach Bo here with you. Fired up for this week's episode 84, coming out every Tuesday for you here. We got a packed show today. It's packed and it's going to be a quick hitter. It's going to be packed and efficient. First off, I saw a tweet the other day, and again, I've told you I'm not a huge fan of Twitter, and I don't get on there for anything other than baseball. I do think the baseball community has some really good stuff. You can follow me on there at 8020_baseball, 8020_ baseball. I put out stuff pretty consistently. I'll take clips of highlights from Major League Baseball, college baseball, even youth baseball or high school baseball that I find, and I'll add a little narrative to it to show you better ways of coaching and highlight it a little bit more. And speaking of videos, I've posted 2 new videos on 80-20 baseball. I'm going to be adding more and more videos to 80-20 baseball. I'm working on those products for the complete 80-20 baseball coaching system that I want to have ready for all of you to use going into next season. For most of you, the next baseball season will start in the fall or the winter. At the latest, it's going to start in the winter where you need to start prepping. So I want to get those products available, ready for you. At a minimum, I will have at least 2 very useful products ready for you by the end of summer. So those videos, I put a couple out there. Wander Franco's first Major League at-bat and what we can learn from it. I put together a video. I spliced in the entire at-bat. Wander Franco is a very young player. He's MLB's #1 prospect, a consensus #1 prospect in all of baseball in terms of the minor leagues coming up. He made his major league debut the other day, and his first at-bat will tell us a lot, can show us coaches a lot about what we want out of our players. So I break that down on 8020baseball.com. Go check that out. I also put out a shortened, abbreviated version of the power slide step that I believe we should be teaching all of our pitchers from the youth level all the way up. And when I say youth level in the power slide step sense, I'm talking about when the runners can start to steal bases, which typically is at 10U, 9U, depends on your area, depends on your league, of course, but it's not too long before those runners can start stealing bases. So the power slide step is something that we want to start working with our players on as soon as possible, just so it becomes a natural quality movement. So go check that out. Baseball is live and well. If baseball does what it should, Major League Baseball and youth baseball, I mean, I'm watching Shohei Ohtani, and the other day he ran a 3.6 seconds home to first time, home plate to first base time. He put down a drag bunt, and I timed him 3 different times on the stopwatch, and it was 3.6 seconds from home to first base, essentially 30 yards, 90 feet. That is fun to watch, that kind of speed. It was a great drag bunt, and this goes along with the 80-20 baseball system. I've talked about this. I've been very upfront with all of you coaches. I highly recommend. In fact, when I coach teams, I tell the players, the hitters, if that third baseman, or if the infielder, in this case, it was the right side of the infield, the first base and second baseman were playing really deep for that shift for Ohtani. If the infielders are not respecting the drag bunt, whether it's typically going to be to the third base side, but if not to the first base side for some lefties that can kind of pull it with them, if they don't respect it, if the infielders want to play deep, if they want to take away your hard hit ground balls, I would make it mandatory that the hitter lays down a drag bunt, unless you've stipulated otherwise, unless you've called it off. So they get up there, you tell them if the third baseman is playing here or deeper, and especially if you have a right-handed pitcher that's falling to the first base side, then they are to drag bunt. Now, on this particular case with Ohtani, Shohei Ohtani's left-handed, of course, left-handed hitter, and he pulled one down. He kind of bunted it hard towards that second base, first base gap. And the reason he did that is because that shift, the players are now playing deeper. So if you play, say you're 12U, or even in high school, and teams start to shift, and teams are shifting even at the youth level, and now it's not so much the shift, it's the depth of the shift. So it's not necessarily where do they shift to the left or the right or move over the third baseman or whatnot. It's really the depth of the infielders. I truly believe that it is more beneficial towards run production to take advantage of drag bunts in this particular case almost every single time, regardless of where the runners are at. I think utilizing a drag bunt is super advantageous. And at the youth level, the lower the level you go, the more advantageous, the more productive it is, because the defenses are more sloppy. They're sloppier. And thus, your bunts, your drag bunts don't even have to be as great or as perfect as they do at the major league level and the college level. so on. So if you put the drag bunt down and it's a really good bunt, it's a hit no matter what. It's a hit at any level. But if you put a decent drag bunt down or an okay drag bunt down at the youth level or even the high school level, there's a good chance or a decent chance that that play may not be made or might not be made by the infielder because it's something they haven't repped a ton of. So watching Shohei run a 3.6 seconds, let me give you some context on that. This is fun to watch. This kid's a fun player to watch. 3.6 seconds. On the Major League Scouting scale, it's a 20 to 80 scale. Don't ask me why it's 20 to 80. They should fix that. It should be like 1 to 10 or whatever. But anyways, it's 20 to 80 and 80 is the top score. 3.9 seconds for a left-handed hitter from home plate to first base. So essentially, once the ball's contact is made on the bat to when they touch first base, that's when you're timing it. A perfect grade is 3.9 for a left-handed hitter. He ran a 3.6. Now, I haven't talked to any scouts about this, but I think that scale is going to have to drop down a little because these athletes are just getting a little faster. The athletes are faster now than they were in 1960, 1970. They just are. They're better athletes at any level. Look at the NFL draft combine, the 40-yard dash times. Those are going down and down and down every year. So they're getting faster. Not a lot, but they're getting faster, incrementally faster. And you're seeing that at the major league level. So I'm guessing 3.8 is probably the new 80. The scale hasn't been quite adjusted over the years, but I'm guessing 3.8 seconds is the new 80. And he ran a 3.6 on the drag bunt. That is phenomenal. And guess what? The very next at bat, he hit a home run over the scoreboard in Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay's stadium is not a massive stadium, and people hit the roof with fly balls and things like that from time to time. But Shohei Ohtani, after drag bunting and running one of the fastest home plate to first base times I've ever seen, and I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of games going back 35 years, he turns around after running that incredibly fast time on a drag bunt and hits a home run 453 feet. Now, here's something to keep in mind, youth coaches. I try to take these players that we can see on national TV, we can see highlights all over the internet, and I try to relate it to youth coaches, high school coaches. The thing is with the drag bunts, it does not just get a hit that time. It does not just benefit and help the run production if it's successful. Just the attempt, just placing that thought, that planting that seed in the defensive players, the defensive team's mind, the opponent's mind, their coach's mind, their third baseman's mind, just placing that thought of, or showing the bunt, just putting one down, trying one, even if it's not successful, will make them, it should, if they're respecting it, it should bring them in. And if it doesn't bring them in a little bit or a lot, then you keep drag bunting until they make the decision. And eventually you'll get really good at drag bunts. Some players are already really good at drag bunting on your team. Here's a tip on drag bunting I've never shared and I've never brought out, and it's very important to keep this in mind. When you are practicing drag bunts, the drag bunt, it's very important that the players understand that getting the ball nearest the line is very important. If they go foul, or if the ball goes foul, if they bunt it foul, as you know, it's one strike. If they bunt it back to the pitcher, straight back to the pitcher, now they've just cost their team an out. So better to have a strike than an out, because if you get one more strike on you, you're still going to be up there hitting. You're still going to have more pitches coming your way. It's very important when you're practicing the drag bunt that you are very demanding on your players. Put some cones out, put some gloves out, put some helmets out, put some markers out, and put those right along the line. Give them, say, 3 feet to get it in, and also have something on the back end so they can't just power it through, because you don't want them to just bunt a massively hard type ground ball to third base. That defeats the purpose. So you want them to be very accurate in practice. As coaches with the drag bunt in practice, we want to be very demanding with their accuracy and also the depth of the bunt. We want to get it out there so the catcher can't pop out and get it, which is a little further than you might think, but we don't want to power it to the third baseman. But we also want the accuracy. The biggest thing is accuracy. So set up some cones, set up some targets, make sure that you're very demanding, make sure it's very challenging for those hitters to get that bunt down there. Just putting that bunt in the other team's mind brings them in. So the next time, if you do decide to swing away, or the next game or the rest of the game, when you do decide to swing away, your team's production, offensive production, will go up. The percentage, the chances of your team scoring runs will go up because now the defense is closer to the hitter. The closer the defense gets to the hitter, right, inherently gives the hitter a higher probability of getting a hit. And so the crazy thing about Shohei is, he runs this incredibly fast time, one of the fastest times, if not the fastest time I've ever seen home to first. Then he turns around and hits a 453-foot home run over the scoreboard, the furthest I've seen a ball go at that stadium. I'll tell you what, the next thing you know, they're going to be trying to pull the wool over our eyes and tell us that this guy also pitches and throws 100 miles an hour or something like that. Yeah, right. Oh, wait, hold on a second. What's that, Chuck? My producer Chuck is trying to tell me that Shohei also throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Chuck, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. No way a guy does a 3.6 second home to first, hits 450-foot home runs, and throws 100 miles an hour on the mound. Oh, his ERA is good too, Chuck? I think I'm going to have to fire my producer, Chuck. Chuck, we're going to have a talk after this podcast. Chuck, I think he's been not getting a lot of sleep. Well, in any case, Shohei is definitely up for winning the MVP in the American League. I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's definitely up there. Now, speaking of making errors like Chuck just did, trying to tell me that Shohei does all these things. Ted Lasso, I made an error. I said Ted Lasso is coming out in June. I think I said like June 20th. It's actually coming out July 23rd. I don't know if Apple TV pushed it back, but nonetheless, my number one recommendation, highly, highly recommend, if you like to laugh a little, if you like to laugh and you like to learn about coaching. If you don't like to laugh and you don't want to learn about coaching, then maybe you don't want to watch the show. Ted Lasso, Coach Lasso. It's on Apple TV. It's like an original series of Apple TV. It is coming out July 23rd. Season 2 is coming out July 23rd. I hope if you've been listening to this podcast, you've taken the time to go back and watch season 1 of Ted Lasso. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you want to get better at coaching. You want to win more. You want to have more fun with your players. You want your players to have more fun. You just want to have a better experience as a coach. You want to be a better coach. You want to go out there and have a lot more fun, more wins, just everything be better. That's why you're here. That's why you listen to this. You tune in every week. Well, Ted Lasso is essentially a series about a coach. He's a college football coach that gets hired as a soccer coach over in Europe. And the show is funny. I think it's well written. And I love comedy. I listen to comedy. I go to improv shows. I watch comedy movies. If there's a comedian out there or a comedy show out there that's well written, if there's movies that are comedies, I've watched them. I love comedies. It's easily my number one preference. And I think Ted Lasso is written very well. And not only that, the entire series is about his strategies as a coach to get his team to play better. It's about his strategies as a coach. The plot of each show, the plot of the series is about his strategies to get the most out of his team. So it comes out on July 23rd in less than a month. So check that out. Okay, for the meat and potatoes of this episode, I want to talk about, I believe, the best way to score our hitters and their at-bats. Many of you are familiar with the phrase quality at-bats, grading quality at-bats. A quality at-bat is a statistic that teams use, and it's a little subjective, of course, but teams use it, professional teams, high school teams, all the way up and down the ranks of baseball. Quality at-bats has been around a long time. The reason teams and coaches like using quality at-bat scores or scoring their players based on quality at-bats, like the percentage of quality at-bats they have, is because sometimes a hitter can make an out and it's considered a quality at-bat. That's essentially the point of the stat. So a home run is obviously a quality at-bat. A double in the gap is a quality at-bat. But there are times when a hitter hits a line drive right at the shortstop, a rocket right at the shortstop, right at the third baseman, at the second baseman, a rocket, a line drive. They crushed the pitch, but the ball was caught. Player made an incredibly great play, and on the stat sheet, it's an out. Pretty much every stat on base plus slugging, so slugging percentage, it's a 0. Batting average, which isn't a great stat, it's going to show a 0. So it shows 0 positive for a line drive, ball that just gets smoked by the hitter. And as you can see where I'm going with this, you can tell there's a big flaw in that. When you're grading a player and he hits 4 line drives, he hits a rocket that the center fielder has to catch running into the wall. That to me is just the other team made a good play, but the hitter did his job. He hit the ball hard. What about the hitter who does a good job in plan A? Does a good job, gets a couple pitches, maybe lays off a pitch that a pitcher's pitch, he lays off a pitch that was on the outside corner at the knees. That's a good job. And then maybe he takes a really nice clean hack at a pitch in his hitting zone. For the strike 2 pitch, he fouled it off, so it's strike 2. And then he gets to plan B, plan 2 as we call it now, and he battles up there. The pitcher makes 7, 8, 9 good pitches. He lays off a couple. He doesn't chase a couple. He fouls off a couple on the outer part of the plate just to stay alive. But then he ends up striking out on a pitch. Maybe he does just misses. Maybe he just swings through a changeup and he strikes out. Well, maybe it was a 12 pitch at bat, which he battled with 2. Now, I don't think battling with less than 2 strikes is anything we want to do. Never coach your hitters to go up there and battle, like stay alive, foul off pitches. Never coach our hitters to foul off pitches and just battle and stay alive with less than 2 strikes. Never. But with 2 strikes, there's going to be pitches where they got to foul off and battle. And so if a hitter sees 12 pitches but ends up striking out, that could be considered a quality at bat. I'm going to take this a step further. I propose that we, and this is not as hard as you think, if you just have some video footage of the game from behind home plate and you can skip forward on a lot of video footage rather quick, you can have somebody videotape the game where they actually only videotape the pitches, so you cut out all the in-between inning stuff. I recommend, if you want to get a really good, a very defined, a very accurate stat about how your hitters did at the plate, or your son at the plate, or your daughter at the plate, I highly recommend you grade each pitch. And if you go look at Wander Franco's at bat that I broke down on 80-20 baseball, I said on there he was 6 for 6 in that at bat. He wasn't 6 for 6 in the game or 6 for 6 against that pitcher. He was 6 for 6 in that at bat. What I meant, or what I mean by that, is he saw 6 pitches and he stayed with his plan. He stayed with a great plan A and then a great plan 2 the entire 6 pitches. He made the right decision. He took good swings on the first 2. Now, he didn't swing at the next 4 pitches, but every single thing that he did was exactly what good hitters should do. So what I'm proposing to all of you is to take the quality at bat, which is a very highly regarded statistic or way of measuring a hitter and their production and their success at the plate. And I'm recommending that it go down to quality pitches, each pitch, because inherently takes away all the errors of the quality at bat score. Because in a quality at bat, a hitter could chase 2 pitches early. They could chase 2 pitches early that are pitches out of the strike zone, pitches that are not in their hitting zone. And then with 2 strikes, they get a mistake from the pitcher and they drive it down the right field line or whatever. And it looks like, oh, it's a quality at bat. They got a hit. They got a double. But they were 1 for 3 in terms of decision making at the plate. They were 1 for 3. And over time, that's going to get them. Over time, they're going to regress to the mean. They're going to have more poor at bats than good at bats. The luck will come back around. And so if you graded that at bat fairly, you would say he was 33%. He was 1 for 3 in that at bat. So I think we should grade each pitch. This can be done using a video camera or during the game. The problem from the side, if you're grading it from the side, you can't see location of pitch that well from the side. In and out, hard to see. Up and down, you can see really well, but in and out, that's tough. So I highly recommend getting a good view, a good vantage point from behind home plate with a camera, and you could break down each pitch and just simply have your lineup just listed out, and then you have 2 columns. Was it a successful pitch or not successful in terms of did they follow the plan? Did they put a good swing on it with plan A? Was it in their hitting zone, or did they chase something? Or did they take a meatball in plan A? Did they take a pitch right down the middle when they weren't in plan take? Or in plan 2 with 2 strikes, did they take a strike? Because in plan 2, we're not taking strikes. You take a strike, you're sitting on the bench. Or did they chase a pitch that was absurdly over their head? Or did it bounce 2 feet in front of the plate, etc.? So we've discussed plan A and plan 2 and what we're trying to do in those plans, and you simply grade each pitch. And this is definitely something you should do with your kid, because this is something you should be able to have plenty of time to grade out and say, here, and then even go back and say, this is what you did. And again, they may be successful, like Wander Franco was 6 for 6, but he fouled off 2 pitches. So some coaches may go, oh, you missed your pitch. You missed your pitch. Work the process. He took a good swing at a pitch in his hitting zone and he didn't put it in play. He fouled it off. And sometimes they miss those pitches, but he took a good swing at a pitch in his hitting zone. That to me is a successful at bat, insofar as he didn't do something really crazy with his swing and get like out of control with his swing. As long as he stayed within his own natural swing, the swing that he's been using or working on, did he swing at a pitch in his hitting zone, and did he put a good hack on it? And in plan 2, did he swing at pitches that were in the strike zone or on the fringe of the strike zone as fast as he could? Did he swing as hard as he could? Did the hitter swing as hard as they could? Sometimes that swing might be a little slow because they get fooled on a breaking ball with 2 strikes, and we talk about that being okay. In plan 2, with 2 strikes, you have to just swing as hard as you can, and sometimes it's not going to be as hard as you'd like, because instead of striking out and missing the pitch completely, say you get fooled on a pitch like a changeup, it's better to slow down your swing and try to put it in play, because if you miss it, you're automatically out. If you put it in play, especially in the youth level, obviously you got a much better chance of getting on base, because it's basically going against a 0% chance of getting to first base. So anything from there is up. Putting a ball in play at the youth level, you may have a 25% chance of getting on base. So that's how I would score it. I would recommend taking it from quality at bat to quality pitch for any level, for every level. In fact, the major league level already does this. They have the statisticians, they have the analytics department doing all this. They automate this. It's computerized. It's done through technology. They do this already. They have this stat, and this is how they grade players. Major league teams grade players on each pitch, not on the results necessarily, although the results will be rolled into that, of course, but they grade hitters on each pitch. Now, while as a youth coach, you don't have that technology, access to all that technology, all that optic video imaging and radar and Doppler and HFX, Hawkeye video, all that. The thing is, as a youth coach, you don't play a game every day and you don't play 9 innings. So you could have time if you just spent some time the day after or before the next game and you grade it out. And even better, if you could grade it out every once in a while with some video with an audio recording over it, where you dub in some of your audio feedback and send it to your players. Email to their parents. If they're old enough, you just send it to them maybe via text, and you do a 1 minute, 2 minute video, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and you dub in your thoughts like, hey, good take here. You might have to splice their at-bat apart from the other players. Be resourceful. Ask somebody on the team that's into tech. Say, hey, I don't need you to grade the at-bats. I don't need you to really evaluate it. But what I would love is somebody on the team, a dad, a mom, somebody on the team, an older brother, could take the game and break it up between each hitter and separate each hitter's at-bats and put them together, group them together. Cut out any extra dead time in there so the coach can just see you. The coach can just evaluate the pitches. Now, if you're doing this with your own kid or kids, you only have 1, 2, 3 kids, because then they know, hey, each pitch is a battle in and of itself. Each pitch is something I'm trying to win each time I'm in the batter's box. So I propose, instead of using quality at-bats, which is a lot better than batting average, which is a lot better than like OPS, you can Google quality at-bats. There are stipulations. There are the characteristics. There are the expectations, or what qualifies for a quality at-bat. There are lists of those out there on the internet. Google quality at-bats. But before you do that, I think you should get an even more accurate picture. Why would you go with something like that? Quality at-bats to me is a B. I would give it a B in terms of assessment accuracy. It's a B. Better, way better than batting average, way better than other things, but it's a B. When the A, the gold standard, would be to grade each pitch. Grade each pitch. And as you get good at this and you do it more, you can get really fast at grading each pitch. Essentially, you won't even have to stop the tape. You have 2 columns. Was it a successful pitch for the hitter or not a successful pitch? Did they stick to the plan? Did they execute the plan? Remember, in plan A, did they take a full swing? And was it a swing at a pitch that was in their hitting zone? Or did they take a pitch that was a pitcher's pitch? Or did they take a pitch out of the hitting zone, right? So that's a check. Did they swing at a bad pitch? Did they swing with a weaker than a slower than full swing? Then that goes in the no, they didn't pass that pitch test. On that pitch, they failed. So it's pass fail. Essentially, it's a pass fail, which makes it easier. You're not trying to figure out, was that an A plus or is that a C minus, a job on that pitch? And then in plan 2, with 2 strikes, did they swing as hard as they could? Which may not be full speed like we just discussed, but did they swing as hard as they could? And did they protect the plate? Did they protect the strike zone? Did they go down looking? That's a fail. Did they protect the zone? Did they foul it off on the outside? They fouled it off. That's a win. If they foul off a pitch that's an inch off the plate, well, in youth level, 3 or 4 inches off the plate could very well be a strike. So did they battle it off? Was it a weak? Did they barely nick it? So what? That's a win to me. That's a pass. So you grade each pitch as a pass fail. And this is where you work the process, work the process, work the process. And in that process, if the hitters work the process and you grade them on the process, the results will work themselves out insofar as you stick with plan A and plan 2. Now, plan take is something, but plan take is more from the coach. Go back, listen, the 3 root hitting plans article podcast I did a long time ago. I've done the field manual article. It's interesting. I've seen about double the amount of listens, I should say, on the audio article for the 3 root hitting plans, but I've only seen about half. The statistics only show half the listens on the field manual version. I recommend you listen to both. They go together. Also, on the 80/20 baseball website, the top video that is on there right now is a video of the 3 root hitting plans. So it's a video of it. If you haven't seen that video, go check that video out. So it's a kind of a visual of it. Go watch that Wander Franco video of his first Major League at bat and a breakdown. I did the whole breakdown in like 3 minutes. I think 3 minutes and 10 seconds. It's very quick. I splice in every pitch, give it quick feedback, how we can learn from this as a coach. Essentially, you see me grade those 6 pitches, pass, fail, and he passed 6 for 6. So go check that out. All right. Love being here with all of you. I love getting the feedback, the positive feedback on the emails, coachbo@8020baseball.com. Support the show. There's a link on your app there, your podcast app. There's a link right there. You click the link. It takes less than a couple minutes and you can support the show. Keep this going along. I do pay to get it edited. I spend time, usually Saturday mornings, away from my family to get this done. Sometimes on Friday evenings to get this done. And throughout the week, I'm scripting it, planning it out. Speaking of family, my daughter just walked in. I think she wants to say something here.
Hi, everybody.
That was not planned. She actually just walked in. I got to go to soccer practice today for her. Well, it's not really soccer practice. It's more of a have fun out there. The coach does a great job out there with them. So I've been learning, watching him work with these kids. They're younger kids, 4 and 5 year olds. But nonetheless, you guys have a great week. Thank you for being here. Take care of your health. Go take care of your families like I'm going to go do right now. And take this information, go out there, win more games, have more fun, just have a better overall experience. We'll see you here next Tuesday on the 80/20 Baseball Masterclass. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been the 80-20 Baseball Masterclass. Take it to the field.